We're joined now by Vanessa and Andrew Neil to discuss today's top stories. Welcome to both
Good morning.
of you. So obviously,
nice
here we are.
Lovely to be here.
1 year. Lovely to have you in the studio.
I
love it. I love seeing you face to face.
So
It's
nice.
brilliant.
It's so nice.
It's a year on, and Prince of Wales is back today of national reflection being held on the anniversary of the first UK lockdown. This is some of what he had to say.
Over the past year, our country has been through a trial which has tested our resolve and our resilience in countless ways. We are emerging from this time with a renewed confidence in one another and with a strengthened faith in our society, richly diverse in its many communities and cultures, but united in its commitment to the common good and the welfare of others. Let us take a moment together to remember those who have been lost, to give thanks for their lives, and to acknowledge the inexpressible pain of parting.
And Vanessa, there is a lot to reflect upon.
There really is. I mean, I don't think actually anybody needs to be persuaded or even invited to reflect. It's completely natural when you think it's exactly a year ago today that we went into lockdown, and everybody measures it in different ways, whether they were just about to celebrate a birthday or whether they suddenly realised, as we all did with this shock, that our lives were going to be curtailed in the most dramatic way nobody had ever experienced anything like it before. I remember kind of breathing in. I felt like I couldn't let my breath out. I was in such shock listening to what the Prime Minister said. And now, a year on, we're still in lockdown.
I know.
It's extraordinary,
Funny
isn't
enough, as I'm sitting here now, I'm thinking, I find it almost hard to reflect slightly. And Andrew, I wonder what you think about this, because we're still in it. We're still going through it. It's almost, when you start looking back at everything, it's almost too much because we're not out the other side yet.
No, we're not. Sometimes you have to pinch yourself that we've even been through all this. I mean, it's quite amazing. Effectively, a year in lockdown, dealing with this terrible pandemic. The country's been through a lot. We've been through a lot together. So I think it's only inevitable that we want to look back and ponder, remember those that we've lost, over 125,000 people, and all the difficulties, and those who have helped us, from the NHS to carers to the people stacking the supermarket shelves. We couldn't have done without any of them. So I will look back too, and look back with some sadness as well. I will also though want to look forward, because when you look forward, your spirits do start to lift. I was just looking before we came on air at the latest weekly deaths being registered in England and Wales. They've now fallen below the 5-year average. COVID is no longer pushing up our weekly deaths. It's below where they normally were. It won't be long when there will be a day in the next week or a week ahead after that when I think we'll be reporting no COVID deaths at all for that particular day.
That would be amazing.
So after this terrible year, there really is some amazing news. We have a lot of work to do to get the economy going again, get life back to normal, help those school kids who've had their education shattered by the lockdown, wonder what we do about this third wave in Europe. That makes international travel difficult. But as we ponder the past year and all the trials and tribulations, I think our hearts will lift a little bit when we look to the future now.
Well, that's absolutely for sure. But let's talk about the point that Andrew picked up on there, the new coronavirus travel laws. Holidays will be made illegal from Monday. Well, they were illegal anyway.
Yes.
But there is now a fine of £5,000 for anyone who's leaving the country who doesn't have a valid excuse. And the thing is that it's June when this is reviewed again, or when the actual law runs out in June. However, although you look at that and think, oh my God, that's the summer off the cards, looking at Andrew's figures there, that's not to say that one can't stop earlier.
Well, quite. I mean, this is all a bit of a shock to people who, when Boris rolled out the initial kind of post-Christmas pathway out of lockdown, thought, May the 17th is our date. That's going to be the date when international travel can resume. And so lots of optimistic people who maybe managed to save a bit of money during lockdown. Lots of people haven't got any money. Some people have made money because they haven't commuted and it's just kind of, crept up a little bit. Oh, yeah, let's book for after May the 17th. So those people are jolly disappointed because, yet again, they may have to cancel cancel another holiday. That's a terrible shame. And the idea of these horrible dire predictions of, you know, all of Europe being closed to us for all of the summer. Some people are saying, oh, well, I might book for September and maybe October. And some people are saying, oh, I'm just going to leave it till next year. Lots of people are saying, but this United Kingdom of ours is so glorious, our green and pleasant land. There are so many wonderful places to explore and visit, so we shouldn't get downhearted. But it is another case of hoping and wishing and then things moving and changing and not being able to make plans. And that's very unsettling when you can't even think that's the day I'm going to look forward to.
Well, it's more than unsettling for the travel industry because, of course, you know, they are desperate to get back on track. They've had a year of not really anyone going anywhere, and these are livelihoods. This is money in people's pockets. Andrew?
Yes, I mean, the problem is that we have to take this almost on a week-by-week basis. There is no question things are beginning to become right in the United Kingdom now. And automatically that would lead to say, well, we can open up now. But there are forces at work that are outside the control of the British government. Europe is in the grip of a third wave right now. Its vaccine program has been a shambles. It has vaccinated far lower percentage of the population than Britain has had to. There are these strains, these variant strains that the British government's very worried about too. So I think it's only natural that we be a bit, whatever difficulties it makes for people trying to organise their summer holidays, I think it's only natural that we take it a little bit cautiously. After all, we've come so far, and therefore we don't want to blow it by doing something stupid, particularly, you know, there's talk that France may now be put on the red list, which is one of those, which is a list of the worst countries in which you have to be quarantined by the government under government supervision when you arrive back in the UK. So even as we cheer things getting right in Britain, we should really hope they start to get right in Europe too, because until they're right in Europe, we ourselves can't be totally free.
Let's, as we've tried throughout the last year to find positive spins on things and hobbies. People have started all sorts of new hobbies. Tom Daley has started a hobby.
He's remarkable.
Really
who'd have thought?
good at it.
Crochet.
So talented at it.
So here are Tom's pictures of there's so he's done his jumper. He's done his vest.
So good, isn't it?
Speedos.
I mean, they're not very waterproof, those. They're going to be a bit soggy.
And then the soft toy.
Honestly, he's putting everyone to shame because loads of us have had a bash at this and that and been absolutely.
So what
hopeless.
have you tried,
I had
then,
a go
Vanessa?
at decoupage. For some reason,
you?
I fancied it. You know, that's when you kind of cut out like pretty patterns and, you know, like paper napkins with lovely pictures, and then you put them, you kind of stick them with a special glue called Mod Podge on a tabletop.
How long did that last?
A couple of attempts. I just had no flair for it whatsoever. But I turned out to be really good at growing potatoes.
Oh, did you?
Yes, and carrots and also courgettes from seed.
No way.
Never thought I'd say that in a public place, honestly. That was never my thing at all. But I got really into gardening to the point where I kept wishing that Monty Don would come and inspect my garden and give me points out of 10. And I got really into it. Oh, that's us. That's National Garden Day. We were celebrating National Garden Day.
Well done.
And we really meant it too. It was like, thank God we've got a garden, and actually look at the stuff I'm growing here. It was
You'll have to bring it in and we could do some cookery in it now that you can come back.
100%. I'm
I
into
can't
it.
wait for Andrew's answer.
Andrew,
Right,
what have you
okay
been
then.
doing? Growing any courgettes?
Well, I was hoping to pass some time with Holly's trolley, but one never arrived. All she said was that I was off my trolley, and it never came. So what I took up as a hobby is that I decided to launch a new television news channel called GB News. That's my hobby for the spring and the summer.
Very good. Well done. Well
Why
done,
not?
by the way. That's excellent. Managed to slide that way.
Very subtle,
dear.
wasn't it?
I was expecting a bit of gardening, but no, of course not.
Well done.
Thank you both
See you in
very
a bit,
much.
Vanessa.